In the intricate tapestry of Buddhist teachings, the concept of an apocalypse diverges significantly from the doomsday scenarios often depicted in other religious traditions. Buddhism, rooted in the wisdom of Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddha, offers a unique perspective on the end times, a perspective that emphasizes cyclicality, impermanence, and the ceaseless interplay of karma. The Buddhist understanding of the apocalypse is intricately woven into the fabric of its core doctrines, such as the Four Noble Truths and the concept of samsara. The impending cataclysm, according to Buddhist philosophy, is not an external event but an internal process, closely tied to the individual's spiritual journey. At the heart of Buddhist teachings lies the idea of impermanence, anicca. Everything in the phenomenal world is subject to change and decay. The apocalypse, in a Buddhist context, is the continuous unraveling and renewal of existence, driven by the inexorable law of impermanence. Each moment, each breath, signifies a miniature apocalypse as the old gives way to the new. Samsara is a fundamental concept in Hinduism, Buddhism, and some other Indian religions, representing the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. It is a continuous cycle of existence that is subject to suffering, and breaking free from this cycle is a central goal in many Eastern spiritual traditions. Key aspects of the concept of samsara include: cycle of rebirth. Samsara is characterized by the continuous cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Individuals are believed to be caught in this cycle, moving from one life to another in various forms based on their actions, karma, in previous lives. The cycle is considered eternal and is not limited to human existence, it includes all forms of life. Law of karma. Karma, the law of cause and effect, plays a crucial role in the concept of samsara. The actions, both physical and mental, performed in one's current life affect future existences. Positive actions lead to positive outcomes, and negative actions result in negative consequences. The accumulation of karma determines the conditions of one's next birth within the samsaric cycle. Impermanence, anicca. Samsara is marked by the impermanence of all things. Every aspect of existence is subject to change, decay, and eventual dissolution. The transient nature of life is a key element contributing to the perpetual nature of the cycle. Suffering, dukkha. Samsara is inherently characterized by suffering. Birth, aging, illness, death, and the various challenges of life contribute to the overall unsatisfactory nature of existence within the cycle. Even moments of pleasure and happiness are considered transient and ultimately unsatisfying in the long run. Liberation, moksha or nirvana. The ultimate goal within the concept of samsara is to achieve liberation, which is known as moksha in Hinduism and nirvana in Buddhism. Liberation is the state of breaking free from the cycle of birth and death, transcending the limitations of the material world, and attaining a state of eternal bliss, peace, and enlightenment. Endless wheel. Samsara is often depicted as a wheel, representing the perpetual and cyclical nature of existence. This imagery symbolizes the continuous turning of the wheel as individuals undergo the processes of birth, death, and rebirth based on their karma. The Four Noble Truths form the foundational framework of Buddhist philosophy and are attributed to Siddhartha Gautama, who later became known as the Buddha. These truths encapsulate the essence of the Buddha's teachings on the nature of human existence and the path to liberation from suffering. Here is a concise overview of each truth. The truth of suffering, dukkha. The first noble truth acknowledges the universality of suffering in human existence. Suffering, in the Buddhist context, is not limited to overt pain but encompasses the broader experience of dissatisfaction, discomfort, and the inherent unsatisfactoriness of life. Birth, aging, illness, and death are considered inherent aspects of suffering, along with the frustration of unmet desires and the impermanence of all things. The truth of the cause of suffering, samadaya. The second noble truth identifies the origin of suffering, pointing to craving, tanha, as the root cause. Craving arises from ignorance, avijja, a fundamental misunderstanding of the nature of reality. It involves an insatiable desire for pleasure, possessions, and a sense of self. According to Buddhism, the cycle of craving and attachment perpetuates the cycle of suffering. The truth of the cessation of suffering, Nirodha. The third noble truth offers hope by asserting that the cessation of suffering is attainable. Liberation from the cycle of craving and attachment leads to the end of suffering. This state of liberation is known as nirvana, characterized by the extinguishing of the fires of desire, aversion, and ignorance. It is a state of profound peace, beyond the fluctuations of pleasure and pain. The truth of the path to the cessation of suffering, Magga. The fourth noble truth outlines the eightfold path, the practical guide to achieving liberation from suffering. This path is divided into three categories: wisdom, right view and right intention, ethical conduct, right speech, right action, and right livelihood, and mental discipline, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. By cultivating these qualities, individuals can gradually overcome ignorance and craving, leading to the cessation of suffering and the realization of nirvana. The apocalypse, according to Buddhism, is not a singular event but an ongoing process manifesting in the eons of samsaric existence. It is the cyclical nature of birth and rebirth, driven by karma, the law of cause and effect. The Buddhist practitioner, through diligent meditation, ethical conduct, and the cultivation of wisdom, endeavors to break free from the cycle, a personal apocalypse leading to nirvana. Nirvana, often described as the extinguishing of the fires of desire, aversion, and ignorance, is the ultimate culmination of the Buddhist path. It is not an annihilation but a transcendence, an individual's liberation from the cycle of suffering. In this sense, the Buddhist apocalypse is the culmination of one's spiritual journey, a conscious stepping out of the ceaseless cycle of birth and death. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.